Good morning, everyone. It's coffee chit chat time. It has been a long time since I've done a coffee chit chat. Actually, I did one about a week ago or so, and I accidentally deleted it, and I didn't want to talk about it again. So I just was like, I'll just do another coffee chit chat when the time is right, when I feel it. I don't like to force things, so I felt like this is a good time. I'm just sitting here. I'm in a really peaceful, tranquil place, and Roxy's sleeping, and I'm just enjoying my coffee. It's still morning. So it was after I got the knock, and that was still kind of fresh, you know. And then there was a couple that had been attacked at a rest stop, and it was after that, it was right around that time, that I had two sketchy situations happen. So it was just like, oh my goodness, it was just like one right after the other. And when I accidentally deleted that coffee chit chat, I thought, you know what, maybe it's too soon to talk about this. You know, that thing just happened with that couple. This just happened with me at a rest stop. And so just give it some time, you know, because I don't want to put fear in people's hearts and minds. You know, I want them to be wise. I want them to be aware. I want them to learn even from my mistakes. I even learn from my mistakes. But I don't want you guys to think that this happens like all the time. So even though it happens and it kind of like gets blown out of proportion, it makes it sound like it's just a dangerous way of living and that you shouldn't do it. And I totally disagree. I think you have to have wisdom. I think things have changed in this world, and so you have to take more precautions, which I have. But it's not any more or less dangerous than living in a house. So I still belong to an app called Nextdoor app from where I lived in my house. And I see everyday posts of things happening in that neighborhood that weren't happening before. And I feel like it would be more dangerous for me to live in that house now than living where I live in my RV and moving around. As long as I'm moving or I'm around other people, I think I'm okay. And so I've kind of switched it up this year where I'm surrounding myself with more people, and I'm not secluding myself and going deep into the forest and taking any chances. And if I don't feel safe, I just don't stay. Even if there's people around, I just don't stay. So, which is really interesting, because after I made a point of not going into the forest and being away from people, and especially where there's no signal, guess where I'm at today? I'm in the forest without a signal, alone. But I feel safe. That's the thing. And later you guys will see where I'm at and why I made this decision. So anyways, yeah, so I'll share the two situations that happened. I'll make it really quick because I want to keep this like under 5 minutes. The first one was I pulled into a rest stop, and it was in the morning. Well, I stayed there the night, and in the morning I went out to walk Roxy, and there was this guy who was kind of, I don't know, he just got my attention, you know, and he was just, I don't know, got my attention. And so I was just kind of keeping an eye on him. There was other people, you know, walking around, truckers there. It was a very pretty rest stop. I felt safe there, but this one guy made me nervous. And so always pay attention to if somebody gets, you know, I call it highlighted, if somebody stands out. And, you know, so I just kept on, you know, just kind of keeping an eye on him and staying away from him. Next thing I know, you know, he's going through the trash, picking up, you know, bottles and whatever. And I thought, I'm not judging. I've been there before. I've done that, you know, like there's no judgment here. But I kept an eye on him. And I could tell that he was watching Roxy and I too. So I went and I got in the rig and I went inside. And I thought, okay, I'm fine inside. It's daytime, it's morning, you know, there's a lot of activity. And something just told me like, just leave, you know. So I got in my rig, got everything packed up, and I just, you know, drove off. As I'm driving off, here he comes behind me, barreling behind me and coming so fast, like we're getting on the highway, you know, freeway, whatever you call it, highway. It was like one of those that goes like, I think 80. And anyways, he comes so fast, and I had to like, I kind of like swerved to move over, and he swerved, but he didn't pass me. And I was just like, okay, this guy's just trying to be a jerk. He's trying to intimidate me and be a jerk. And I thought, well, just stay calm, you know. And so I got on the road and I went with the flow traffic, and he was behind me. And I thought, just, you know, just don't try to take off. Don't try to go slower than everybody else. Just stay constant. And finally, he was right behind me, and then finally he went around me, looked at me, and then he took off. And I was just like, what is up with people? Like, what is his problem? Like, sometimes you don't know what demons people have and what they're battling, you know. And maybe I looked at him too long at the rest area. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, so that went on. And then I went to a laundromat, and I went to a place where there really wasn't many people. Like, when I go to a laundromat, I try to look for a pretty good size parking lot, so that I can get in there and, you know, have space and stuff. So a lot of laundromats, you know, they're not really made for like big rigs. So I found one that was open and spacious. So I parked there, and I went inside, and right when I walked in, I saw two guys. And then I looked up, because I always look for the cameras. When I'm walking in and there's no one in there, or there's one person, or, you know, one guy or two guys, I look for security. So it wasn't one of those that had somebody working there. It was just, you know, you do your own thing. And so there were no cameras. There was no one there. And something inside of me was just like, But it's like, there's also another side of you that's like, you don't want to offend somebody and walk out. You don't want to like walk in fear. It's a balance, you know. And it was not that it matters, but it was, you know, morning time. It was pretty quiet. And so I was just like, went in there, was doing my laundry, just said a prayer, you know, God protect me, send somebody here. Next thing I know, they're walking towards me, and they cornered me. And I'm like, you know, your defenses go up. And sorry about that, guys. My storage was full. My phone turned off when I was in the middle of telling you about that situation at the laundromat. You see Roxy right there? I'm like, I'm going to get her in here too. She's going to try to talk. She's going to try to like get my attention, but let's just stay focused. I don't have much storage, so I'll make this quick. Anyways, the guys approached me, and they basically cornered me because there was nowhere for me to go. He said something in his phone in a different language, and then put the phone up to me, and, you know, using the translator. And so I read it, and he was asking me questions about, do I live in my RV? And I didn't feel comfortable telling him that I lived in my RV. So I told him, no, I'm just renting it from a friend. You know, he was asking me how much, how would he be able to do that? And all this, you know, just a lot of personal questions. And it was making me a little nervous. It's like, I understand that when you're from another country, you don't realize, you know, that we have certain, you know, social boundaries here. And so when you come into somebody's personal space, which is like usually like arm's length, then it makes people a little nervous. Anyways, somebody showed up, thankfully, and I finished my laundry and got out of there. But again, these things have been happening, these weird situations where people are just making me a little nervous. So now what I'm doing is I'm camping near people. I'm using more wisdom. I'm reading Proverbs about wisdom. And I'm just asking God to give me, you know, a heads up when something seems sketchy, instead of just ignoring it and being la la land. So keep your guard up and just be wise. Even if it could be morning, it could be broad daylight, it could be, you know, there could be a lot of people around. You just never know when someone has ill intentions. So stay prayed up, stay protected, and you know, use wisdom. All right. Bye, guys.